Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of 356 Assembly. I have been missing the headlight for a long time. It was actually lost in the attic somewhere, but I have found it. I have the bumper here ready to put on. This hood handle, for example, is unrestored, and I just want to check the fit, just using some tape now to see how it fits the body. If there's any adjustments that need to be made, I want to do that prior to getting re-chromed. Some pieces are already out for a re-chrome, like the bumper overriders and the window frames and stuff like that. Also, I want to share with you guys some pretty involved repairs I had to do to the rear brake lights. I was getting some intermittent signals when I was driving, and it turns out I had some bad grounds in the back, so I had to do actually welding to the car to put the ground straps back in the correct way. So let me show you that as well. This was a stressful project to get. This is the ground strap for the taillights, and it was missing on this side. This side had one on there, and so I just duplicated the width and the location on this side. And I thought about riveting on or screwing it in, but you would be left with something on the inside of here. So inside here, there's this little hole and a rubber plug. So I left all this side off so I could access this without, damaging it or having any screws poke through or anything. So I thought that welding it was just the right thing to do. Just go for it. And of course, that side just gets attached to the stud here. And I'm just going to come back with some black paint, touch this up, and you'll never see it once the housing's in. Plus, the paint is a pretty good match to this original texture. So we're just going to tidy that up, both sides, paint both sides, and call it good. Should last another 50 years. I was just cleaning up this opening for the bumper, and I just noticed that there's a little section there. Might be hard to see through the hole, but is an undercoated section that just didn't get sprayed. This was sprayed from underneath, and it just can't reach that area. So you're seeing a little bit of epoxy primer there with the undercoating on top of it. So what I'm going to do now is just go over it with my Rust-Oleum mix, make sure it's all nice and black and also well protected from corrosion in the future. That's one of those areas where water might sit, and I just want to make sure it has a thick coating of paint on there to prevent any kind of problems later on. It's gonna be hard to see on camera, but I did get the paint touched up behind there. There is a path to view down there, and it's all black now. That's how it should be. The light's kind of bouncing around, making shadows in there, but it's nice. I can show you from underneath when I lift the car up. Also, I was able to clean out these cutouts because this car was painted green first, and then the undercoating was applied second. And when you mask this off, you have the opportunity to clean out this window so it's just green paint. I think, as an aside, that is an advantage of painting it first and then undercoating second, because you can always get back to the clean edge of paint without having it lumpy with green overspray on top of the undercoating. So all these cutouts look really nice. The tape lines, the junction between undercoating and green, it's all very crisp and nice. So I like the direction that was done. This cutout is the same way. Very clean, no paint on the interior. The metal thickness is nice and thin there. So all these cutouts are ready now to do some assembly. It's another dicey maneuver, getting ready to put the bumper onto the car. And last time I used like a furniture dolly or just a truck dolly to attach it to the dolly and then just kind of slide it in. And I thought that worked really well for the rear bumper, but I don't have the dolly anymore. It was stolen. I left it outside my driveway and now it's gone. So now I'm suspending it here off the ceiling, and I'm just going to take the weight off the bumper so I can sneak it in the holes by hand really carefully without scratching anything. Scratch protection. I'm having to spread these out just a little bit. So let me give it some pressure. There we go. Take a little break and show you what's happened. So the weight of the bumper is still supported by the strings, but I've got the brackets just inside or outside of the brackets where it attaches to the car. And these are slotted holes, and there's exposed holes in there. So I'm just gonna slide it back now, but I just wanted to show you how the brackets needed to be kind of stretched out over these indents here on the battery box. That's where it attaches. There's a bolt back in there. So at this point, it should pretty much slide in. If not, I have to, loosen these bolts here and make some adjustments. But I believe these were set prior to paint, so hopefully I don't have to move those. That's where they were when I tested it prior to paint. So I'm gonna do this real slow, 1/2 inch on each side. These cars don't get any rubber between the brackets and the body. It's just an open space. I'm just gonna relax this knot just a tiny bit so it doesn't aim up. Just moving it ever so slightly. Let it go down a little bit. Same with this side. I'm starting to get a lot of tension on the width, so I'm going to loosen some bolts and see if I can get it to relax just a little bit before I push it all the way in, because it's starting to bind a little and I just don't want to force anything. It's fitting a little bit better. This side here, I guess because of the angle of the rope, it's starting to get high, so I'm going to pull it down with the knot again. Ever so slightly. And I think I can get a bolt in back here in the back. Okay, 2 bolts in on this side, made no contact with the car at all. So I'm just gonna inch this side in, making sure it doesn't creep up, and we should be in business. It's not adjusted, but it is in. So you can see it's pretty tight to the body right there, but this side is not pushed in all the way, so that'll affect that side too. But you're starting to see how it's coming together. If you look at the slots, these have slots that are about, I'd say they're about 1.5 inches long, and it's all the way in the outmost position right now, but that's because it's gonna get closer to the car when we slide it in, do some final adjustments. But I'm gonna go ahead and take the strings off and do the final adjustment. Also, I need to tighten the bolts on here. Probably easier to do that when it still has some space in there. Able to tighten those up without hitting the body with a deep socket. So this works out perfect. So now it's attached to the car. These strings will not hold it anymore. I had done a lot of metal work to this bumper to get a nice fit between the body and the sides. It's not easy to do, but you got to do that kind of stuff in metal because you're not going to be bending it now that it's painted. So this should fit really well. I think you guys will like it. It's really hard to get these, like I said, it's hard to get these to fit well, but I think this is about as good as you can get. So looking at the distance between the bumper and the body, it's kind of like a two finger, a little less than 2 fingers, but close. Opens up a little bit more here, 2 fingers, 2 fingers, 2 fingers. So that is, I think, pretty even. I like that. And then the gaps here on the end is basically, it's like a pinky. There's one pinky on the right, or that's actually the left, and then one pinky on the right. A lot of bumpers are bent here in the middle because as soon as you hit something, then these ends will spring out. So I like it fitting the body as close as possible. I think this is how it left the factory. Maybe a little bit bigger gap there, but I kind of like it adjusted in. Little detail spray. Haven't cleaned this car in a while. And then just for reference, the back bumper is a little bit less than a pinky here in the corners, but a little bit less than 2 fingers as well. More like a finger and a half. Almost 2 fingers there. Finger and a half. And then back to a pinky right here. So the back fits just a little bit tighter than the front, but you would never know with the naked eye. It's pretty close. Oftentimes the bumper overriders are installed prior to putting the bumper on, but I think I can get access to the back. There's a hole right there. I could just slide them on and put the nut on. I may adjust it out again, put the overriders on, and then adjust it back. And the same for the decos. I don't have a good looking deco, but I think I can put those on, get the nuts on the back, if I just slide this out a little bit. So the order of assembly here is not exactly correct, but given what I have on hand, I just want to get this going. I seem to remember reading somewhere that this is a common patch panel for this small LED. I think these are used on Volkswagens. If you know what that is, and if Porsche did that, let me know. The glass, though, however, is marked Hella, and it has the 19, 20, and 21. I think this is a 356 lens, or at least that's what they came with. This one's made in Germany too. The seal in the back's in pretty good condition. So I'm just going to clean this up and kind of put it back together. Just get the parts on the car for now. And why I have it down this far, I'm going to go ahead and replace this bulb with an LED one. I have the LED lights from Arizona Trader, Jules Jillian, I think that's how you say it. That's a 6-volt LED, and like I said, I'm converting my car back to 6 volts. All right, so there's just the bare bulb, and let's replace it with a new one. This chrome polish is pretty good. It's called Quick Glow, and it works wonders. Better than it did. I didn't do any real restoration. I basically just cleaned it with some chemicals. You know, this works on glass too. It says you use it on your shower doors. But the chrome is, I think, pretty sure this is chrome. It's not stainless steel. This is zinc plate down here, and it came out pretty nice. Clearly, it's rusty there where that fuse cover is, the little fuse box. But this is ready to go on the car. Let's see how it fits. This is a pretty special screw. This is a reproduction, and it's got a little aluminum spacer there. I think that is correct. So you can see, like on this one, it prevents you from kind of over clamping this down. It just keeps it equidistant from the body there. This one hasn't been cleaned yet, but yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and look for the seal and make sure that this can seat on the car without scratching it. Got two different style seals here. This I think is the 356 seal. It's more of a rubber. This one is a 911 seal and it's more of a foam. So I'm gonna try the 356 seal first, but if that fails, then we will go to the rubber one. And it's always a guess which way this thing goes, but I think it just goes like that. I think that's gonna work. Yeah. Now, I don't have my wiring run up here to the front yet. That's okay, because I'm just gonna drop this in. We'll connect it to the wiring loom later. Just want to get these parts on the car kind of as storage, if nothing else. To me, that this part here is interfering with the actual car. So I am going to double check things by taking the seal out, and we'll just lay some tape up here, see if we can see where it's interfering. Yeah, this adjuster screw is for some reason angling up and making it difficult to get the bucket in. Does not want to go without forcing it, so that's why we'll stop and investigate here. It could be that one of these wire bales is interfering, so I might have to move the wires around so it doesn't try to grip onto one of the wires. I made sure those bales are not here at the hook area, and that does allow it to fit much better. Somewhere like that. And that's roughly lined up, so it's now in. So I'm gonna try again with the actual seal. Very difficult to get that screw in straight without cross-threading it. So right now I need to rotate the bucket a little bit so this screw can go in straight. This is dicey. And it looks pretty good. See, the rubber seal is just peeking out there. Looks like it's a little bit compressed up here. So it might need, this ring might need to be massaged a little bit. Looks like this screw here is kind of cockeyed as well. This screw down here could probably go a little bit tighter, just compress it, make it a little bit more even. You can see I don't have it cranked all the way down. I just don't want to overdo it. Each time I put it on and off, it typically will fit just a little bit better. I may move the adjusters. I may bend the ring just a little bit. Maybe it needs to be twisted a little bit, but that gives it the best overall fit. The more times you put it on, generally the better it fits. It's unlikely it's gonna fit perfect after paint right away. Most of this stuff needs a little bit of hand tweaking if you want it to look perfect. I am going after show quality on this car. So like I said, a lot of this stuff will get re-chromed. Some of it's already out being chromed. Even though this looks pretty nice on camera, there are some sanding scratches, a couple defects in it, little dent on the side. So I'm gonna try to make it as nice as possible. Thank you guys for being here. Talk to you soon. Cheers.